There we go. That's it recording now. Thank you very much for attending, everyone. I'm going to just take you through how to apply for the NAFA courses. You should be able to see the first page of the presentation now. The schedule will be, I'll just take you through the application steps very quickly. It's a very easy application. Of course, you're all NAFA students, so you'll all have been pre-screened. So it's really just a case of providing us with all of your information. And I'll show you what the application form looks like so that you can see how you will input that information. And then my colleague, Rosanna, will talk to you a bit about the standard visitor visa, which is what you'll need to apply for in order to join us in the UK. We will just go over it in a very and sorry, I can hear someone, thank you. But there will be more information to come. So if it all seems a bit complicated just now, don't worry too much. The first thing to do is really just to get your application in. So that's what we'll start with. So you'll complete your application form by following a link that will be sent to you by your course leader at NAFA. So depending on what course you'll be joining, you will follow a link and you will come to an application page that will look a little bit like this. I'll just see if I can share my screen. Okay, I think that's last year's link, but it will look a little bit like this. Can you see the application form?
No, I think the screen is being shared.
Oh, okay. 2 seconds. I'll just bring it up for you. Okay, here we go. This should be the application form now. So you can see there's the course name up at the top here. So before you apply, do just make sure that this is the correct course that you want to apply for. And then you'll need to create a new user, but I'll just log in using our one. Oh, okay. So that one's not working. Let's see if I can refresh it. Okay, sorry about that. Here we are. Here's an application form for you. So you'll see there are different pages for you to complete. As you go through the application form, they will turn green once you finish the page and submitted everything you need to submit. So I'll just very quickly show you. You'll fill in your name and date of birth as expected. This is all pretty straightforward. One thing just to note at this stage, if you do have dual nationality, if anyone's got two passports, please make sure that the passport you intend to use to enter the UK, you put that as your first nationality, and then any other nationalities you might have, you can put second. So I'll go ahead and go on to the next page. You'll be asked to supply your contact details, so your permanent address. So that should be the address that you are at most of the time. So not your term time address. That'll be possibly if you are living at home, then your parents' address. And then for qualifications, so you'll be asked to say if you're currently studying. The answer to that will be yes. And when you fill in your current studies, please do make sure that you select Singapore so that it will narrow down the field of different institutions, and should be able to find NAFA. There we are, just there. And then really the only document that we will need for you is your passport. So please do, you'll have to select that you require a visa to study in the UK and then input your passport information. If you don't currently have a passport, please just let us know by email. We will need to see some form of an ID in order to process your application. So if you've got an expired passport but you're waiting on a new passport, you can upload that. Or if you've got any other form of ID, but we will need to see an in-date valid passport before we can generate your visa letter. So if you fall into that category, if you don't have a passport yet, just let us know by email and I'll give you our email address in just a moment. But otherwise, once you've inputted all that information, you should just be able to submit your application at the end here using the submit button. You can also go back to the checklist and you can save and you can come back later, but I would encourage you to submit your application as early as possible. So that's really everything you need to know in order to complete the application. I will take questions at the very end of the presentation, but for now I'll just pass on to Rosanna, who will talk to you about the visas. So Rosanna, if you're ready, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Natalie. Natalie, would you mind sharing the screen, and is it okay for you to click next when?
Yeah, no worries. I'll just get that back
sure.
up just now. Here we go. So if we start.
Okay, hi everyone. So I'm Rosanna. We're going to go through kind of some of the visa slides now. So just wanting to let everybody know that the information that's provided in this presentation is accurate as of yesterday. So anything that's been changed, we would not have been updated by, but this is all the correct information and it's subject to change at any time. Thanks, Natalie. Okay, so most of you would probably be entering the UK as a visitor, and the visitor route for study has lots of kind of conditions. A standard visitor route is for students coming to the UK for 6 months. Study must be at an accredited university, so we are an accredited institution. The student will receive a standard visitor letter from us with our sponsor license details, and the course, the fees that you've paid, etc. EU and Swiss nationals are subject to immigration control as well, and it allows them to study in the UK for 6 months. So all of you guys who are study abroad students, you must not apply for a short-term study visa, nor an academic visitor visa. The correct visa type is a standard visitor visa. Next, please, Natalie. Okay, so there are some restrictions and conditions for a visitor route. So any standard visitor coming into the UK cannot work or do any work placement. A standard visitor cannot extend their stay in the UK or switch to any other visa route. A standard visitor must have enough funds to pay for the course and support themselves whilst they're in the UK. Standard visitors are not permitted to access any medical treatment in the UK other than private medical treatment. Standard visitors must not intend to live in the UK for extended, frequent or successive visits. So again, just want to let everybody know that you can only stay in the UK for 6 months from the date that you enter the UK. There's more information that is available for students on the UKISA website. We can share that with you at the end of this session. Okay, so the electronic travel authorization, some of you guys may have already heard about this or have used it before. It's something relatively new, so just wanting to make you guys aware of what an electronic travel authorization is. So what is an ETA? An ETA it gives you permission to travel to the UK. It is not a visa. All visitors who need to visit the UK for short stays and do not have any other immigration status will need to apply for an ETA before they travel to the UK. This excludes anyone who is British or Irish. The ETA costs £16 and permits multiple journeys to the UK for the stays of up to 6 months at a time or 2 years, or until your passport expires. So if your passport expires before your ETA will also lapse. However, if your passport's, got a long expiry date, your ETA will last for 2 years from the date that you apply for it or have been approved. Who should apply for an ETA? So all eligible Europeans and non-Europeans will need an ETA. We class these people as their non-visa nationals. If you are a non-visa national, you can check it. Again, we can send you this link as well. You can check whether your nationality fits into the ETA kind of scheme. You will need to apply for an ETA before you come to the UK. How to apply for an ETA? So the quickest way we recommend you to apply for an ETA is downloading the ETA app, or you can apply online using this website here. It is best, we really advise you to apply for an ETA early before you book travel, just because it may take a few days for you to receive approval. So yeah, just have that done before you come to the UK. After you apply, usually the decision for your ETA is given within 3 working days. Sometimes it may take longer. As to why we say do it in advance so that you know that it's approved and you're ready to go. The confirmation email for your ETA will be approved and will be sent to you via email. The ETA will be digitally linked to your passport. If you get a new passport, you will need a new ETA. Okay, so the next part is applying for the visitor route. So a standard visitor visa, there's 3 types of standard visitors, and our first kind of type of standard visitor is our visa nationals. These are people from countries such as China, India, Russia, Algeria, etc. These nationals must apply for a standard visitor visa, and you'll receive a sticker which looks like this in your passport. Visa nationals must apply for so this is what it looks like. This will be in your passport once you've applied. You must enter the UK within the validity of your vignette. It should be date stamped by the border officer. So the start date of your visa vignette will usually be on the top left-hand side. You must enter the UK on or after this date. You cannot enter before this date. When you enter the UK, you'll be seen by a border force officer and you should receive a stamp which looks like this here, this black stamp here. This is your entry date, so you should enter after this start date here. The vignette should be valid for the full length of the course. So your expiry date should cover the course that you are studying. Next, please. All right, and our second type of standard visitor is our non-visa nationals. These non-visa nationals are people from countries such as Brazil, Mexico, Taiwan, etc. Non-visa nationals are a little bit different. They can enter the UK without having to apply for a standard visitor vignette. They can visit a border force officer upon arrival and they will receive a leave to enter stamp in their passport. So a stamp that looks like this. And usually you are able to stay in the UK for 6 months from the date that you've entered the UK. Again, the date that you enter the UK and 6 months from that date must also cover the full length of your course. these nationals, so people from these countries, must also apply for an ETA. And our final kind of standard visitor route is our standard visitor visa e-gate users. These are non-visa nationals as well, who are from the EU, EEA, Switzerland, Australia, Canada, Japan, New Zealand, Singapore, South Korea, and the US. People from these countries are eligible to use the e-gates. They may not receive a stamp because you won't be seeing a border force officer, you'll be using the e-gate. So, you'd have to passport at hand and it's electronic. What we require from these students is that you keep a hold of your boarding pass or your travel booking confirmation emails, something that has your name and the date you're traveling to the UK. From the date that you travel to the UK, you also, like the non-visa nationals, have 6 months stay period in the UK. And again, it must cover the full length of the course that you are studying. All of these nationals also must apply for an ETA. So standard visitor visa entering via Ireland. So there is no immigration control upon arrival to the UK via Ireland. Visa nationals, their vignette won't be stamped. So if you are, from China, India, etc., and you've got a visa vignette, your visa vignette won't be stamped at Ireland. And so therefore we require you to keep a hold of your boarding pass or your travel booking confirmation or your e-tickets, etc. For non-visa nationals, students will automatically have permission to be in the UK for 6 months. Again, these students will need to keep a copy of their boarding pass and travel booking confirmation too. Okay, so this is some information about where you can get some help. So you can contact the study abroad team at studyabroadoffice@arts.ac.uk should you have any queries. The UEL Student Advice Service team, these are student advisors. They are professionals in answering queries for any kind of visa queries, or if you need kind of more advice about your immigration matters, we ask you to contact the student advice team. The most up-to-date information about a standard visitor route can be found on the UK government website or on the UKISA website. We also have lots of information on the UAL website as well, so do have a look. Before you travel to the UK, we would strongly advise that you keep up to date with any kind of guidance or changes on the UK government website. This would always be the most up-to-date information. So, things can change overnight. So sometimes it's good to just double check everything before you travel to the UK.
Thank you so much, Susanna. That was really helpful. And thank you for reading out that last page. I'll just put that back up again so that everyone can see the email address for the Study Abroad office. So that's the quickest way to contact me. My name's Natalie, and I'll be the one looking at all of your applications as they arrive. And just to follow up on what I didn't say at the beginning because we're having a wee bit of technical issues, but all of this information about the visas will only really become relevant once you've submitted your application and you've received an offer letter. So what the timeline for things will be that you'll get your application link. You must fill in your application and submit it. It'll come to me and I will process it as quickly as possible. Once you have an offer, you must accept your offer as early as possible, and that will then trigger us to send out your visa letter. So that's the important bit. That's the information that you'll need in order to actually apply for your visa in this, assuming that you're one of the nationalities that need to apply for a visa ahead of time. And just as another note about that, we can only send out visa letters, I think it's 3 months before the course starts. So if you don't receive your visa letter straight away, that's probably why. It's probably just a little bit early. But as long as you've been offered and accepted a place, your visa letter will be sent at the earliest possible date that it can be. And then that will kickstart your visa application process. And you will be given more information about applying for visas closer to the time. So this is just a really quick overview for you. Just while I've still got Rosanna here, Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've said so far? If you do, probably the best way is to just type a message into the chat, and then myself or Rosanna can respond. I see I've got a question from Patricia straight away, asking where do we create a new account for the application? So if I can go back to the first page that I was on, I should be able to share that. So I'll just share my page.
If I can jump in, every student will have their own link because it depends on which course you're doing, and you will be given a link from the NAFA team. So Nigel, thank you for sharing that. That's if you want to log in, but the link to apply will be given to you by the NAFA team.
Thanks, Annalisa. There we go. I'll just bring up the page here. So you can see there are some details already in this central section here, but you can just create a new user to apply on the right-hand side here. So you'll just follow the link that you're sent by the NAFA team, and you should be able to see the name of your course here and the opportunity to create a new user to apply in the right-hand corner. Are there any further? Oh yeah, okay. So this is from Kashika. So as an Indian passport holder, I won't need to apply for the ETA. I will only need to apply for the standard visitor visa for visa nationals. Rosanna, would you be able to respond to this one, please?
Yes, of course. So yeah, if you because you are an Indian passport holder, you fall under a visa national. You do not need to apply for an ETA. What you do is apply for a standard visitor visa directly.
Amazing, thanks so much. And if people have other questions dependent on their nationality, do feel free just to email us in at the Study Abroad office and we can let you know what you need to do. Oh yeah, I see Daphne is also asking, is it similar to Filipino or Indo passport? Yes, I believe so, but Rosanna will be able to confirm.
Yeah, so again, I think it depends on what passport you are traveling with. It would be good if you could send us an email and just let us know what nationality you are, and then we can give you a bit more kind of visa immigration advice.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rosanna. Does anybody have any other questions? The website cannot find that applicants log in to apply. So you should be sent a link from the NAFA team. So I'm not sure if that's already been sent to you. I think it may have been, but if not, if you email us, we can pass that on to you so that you have the correct link. So you don't need to go to the UAL website to find the correct course. You'll just be sent a link that will just take you straight to the application form. So you don't need to go hunting for it. Great, thank you.
Natalie, I just wanted to respond back to Daphne as well. So if whichever passport you hold, so if you are a Philippines passport holder or Indonesia passport holder, they're both visa nationals, so you will need to apply for a standard visitor visa.
Awesome, thank you. I've got another question here saying, may I know how we log into the website to do the application? You will need to create a new user account, but that will be available to you once you follow the link that you'll be sent. So it should be fairly self-explanatory, but once you follow the link, you'll see this in the right-hand corner saying create a new user to apply, and that will be how you create your user account. Do we have any final questions? We've got about 4 minutes left. If there's anything you think of afterwards, of course, you can always email us in at studyabroadoffice@arts.ac.uk. I'll just put that into the chat. So that's the email address for you all. If there's no further questions, I'll go ahead and I'll stop the recording just now.